we move on to talk about the start of the season, how great the start of the season has been for Bayern Munich. Um, it's let's go to the statistics real quick for that game. Um, well, Bayern Munich, they were able to start off their campaign in the Bundesliga so far with two wins. The opening day win over Wolfsburg, which we talked about it. I talked about, some of the negatives. There was some positives in that performance as well, but I talked about the negatives because there were some big negatives that we've seen past season, even this past couple seasons, but specifically with those players this past season. And I was very critical of that performance. And then today they came out against Freiburg, and they were able to win 2-0. Harry Kane's penalty in the 38th minute, and then Thomas Muller, touch of class, touch of quality, absolutely phenomenal in the 78th minute, coming off the bench. And Thomas Muller, I believe he became the most most appearances for a Bayern Munich player, something of that sort. Thomas Muller is an absolute great. He's a great in German football, in which he just retired recently. And he's a great for Bayern Munich. Absolutely sensational. He's been such a leader. He's been so pivotal. He's been so flexible in like being able to cover so many positions for them on the wing, as a striker, as a 10, as an 8 even. He's been sort of the perfect player. They don't make them like Thomas Muller these days. There's not many players like that. He's a player that just has so much quality. Can do so many different things, has an amazing footballing brain that's allowed him to play as long as he has. And he's just been a great servant for Bayern Munich. And he came on, had a great touch, and got that second goal. And then you see that signature celebration, that passionate celebration from him. But yeah, Bayern Munich, taking on Freiburg. And I have to say, what a ridiculous starting lineup. This is a ridiculous starting lineup that Vincent Company, man, his name was blanking me. Vincent Company came out with. You had Harry Kane at top, Gnabry playing off that right hand side, Matthias Tell playing off that left hand side. You had Olise and Martial sort of playing in central roles. Pavlovic as really the lone midfielder there with Kimmich, Upamecano, Kim, Guerrero playing that back four. But to be honest, you had Kimmich kind of joining in midfield mostly with Pavlovic, and Upamecano sort of had to cover the right hand side with Serge Gnabry dropping back a lot. Serge Gnabry did a lot of work playing on that right hand side because he was essentially the right winger and the right back. And then Kim and Upamecano were sort of opened out wide, and Matthias Tell, he was kind of operating as a left forward, left midfield, sort of with Guerrero being behind to be the left sort of back. It was sort of weird way. They didn't exactly play how they lined up, but what they did is play an extremely attacking lineup against Freiburg that left a lot of space open, but they were able to get that done against Freiburg. Freiburg Freiburg they started off their season opening days with a win. This past season they finished 10th place, so it was not the weakest of oppositions that they were going up against. But I do have to say, Freiburg did have a little bit quality to be able to get that and play that initial ball, to get past that initial press. There was so much space there for Bayern Munich, for Freiburg to attack. They had so many situations. And by the way, Kim and Upamecano are not the most strongest of center backs. So there was a lot of spaces to attack those center backs that are really on poor form over this past year or so. But Freiburg, they just couldn't get that initial ball right. The Bayern Munich press was really good, and it was a comfortable victory in the end. Bayern Munich did dominate a lot of the possession, didn't create as many clear-cut opportunities I expected them to with this really attacking lineup. And that attacking lineup, Matthias Tell didn't really operate, didn't really do much from the left-hand side. Serge Gnabry, he couldn't give you much of an attacking outlook because he was asked to do so much work. He was asked to join an attack as a right winger. He was asked to, come back and defend for the space left by Kimmich who went into midfield. He was asked to do a lot. Elise, he got the ball in certain areas, was okay. But overall, I have to say, Bayern Munich, they played really well, but there was a lot of space in that back line to take advantage of, and the better teams will take advantage of that. Now, is this sort of company wanting to try out new things to see if this team is capable of playing like that against sort of the weaker oppositions before they take on some of the real tests? I guess yes, maybe, but still, it's something to question on, because going back to that opening day, Bayern Munich defensively very weak once again, giving the ball away out of the back, not taking up the right places in the pitch, allowing runs to go in, and not really tracking the runners, just defensively poor showing from them in that opening day and against Wolfsburg. And in this game, they didn't really have to do much defending as a back unit because Freiburg couldn't really get out of the initial press, and the few opportunities they did, there was a lack of quality in terms of Freiburg in their in their attack, and look, the most important thing right now, early on the season with the new manager, with Vincent Kompany trying to find new things, is the results. The results, 2 wins out of 2, 6 points, which is good. You'd already see Bayern Leverkusen, who are one of the favorites, one of the favorites to win Bundesliga, if it's not Bayern. They've already dropped points. In fact, they were lost to Bayern Leverkusen. And it's the most important things early on the season with the new coach is just getting the results. But when you see some of the similar patterns that you see the previous season, you do have to ask questions. Jamal Musiala, man, I just have to say, what a brilliant player is Jamal Musiala. Brilliant player. Now, Olise looked decent. He looked lively. But, both of them weren't really able to finish their chances. But Musiala, he's such a brilliant player. I think I enjoy watching him most play in football right now. I mean, just his ability to play in tight spaces, the way he dribbles the ball. I don't think I've ever seen anything like. I mean, yeah, I have. I've seen Neymar. I've seen some brilliant dribblers. I've seen Messi, but he's up there though. He is a great dribbler of the ball. He can control the ball almost. It's like he's controlling the ball with his mind almost. That's what it seems like, because the way he plays in sort of tight spaces is just unbelievable. This was Bayern Munich in the first half, they were decent. The second half, it was a more controlled sort of performance for them. Eventually, Serge Gnabry was able to find Thomas Muller, who had an amazing control, and then smashed it past the goalkeeper to make it second in his record appearance for Bayern, 710th appearance for Bayern, and Thomas Muller speaking after the game. By the way, this is Muller's 150th career Bundesliga goal, which now he becomes the 17th player to do that. When speaking about the game, Thomas Muller said, "A brutally beautiful goal. I told the fans on the fence after the game that they should work hard this year because they need a few days off. We've got big plans this year." That's a lot to say. Thomas Muller, and it shows the confidence that he has in this Bayern Munich team. He thinks that this team can do some real things this year, and I have to say, I applaud that confidence. But if they don't fix those issues defensively that they have, and if they leave that sort of space that they left defensively in this game, in games against better teams, they will get absolutely fried apart. they'll get Fred apart. Hansi Flick, you see him at Barcelona. What you see him at Barcelona is they have some space, but they play a high line, but they're still able to defend really, really well. When Hansi Flick was at Bayern, despite the fact that they had a lot of space that they left open in transition, they were able to defend really, really well. Can Vincent Kompany sort of, take what Hansi Flick did defensively at Bayern and sort of replicate that into this team? That's the big question to be asked there. But overall, it's been a good start of the season for Bayern Munich. But obviously, there's steps that they need to take, and they have this sort of international break for Vincent Kompany and the background staff to figure it out more. And I look forward to seeing them continue on this season.